order for let's spill the tea.
Oh,
Okay, we're recording.
hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Fucking losing our minds.
Oh,
God.
hello.
We're fucking
So-
trapped in our houses and we're losing our mind.
We got like 2 feet of snow here.
Well, sup guys? That was my bad tea for this week, was that we're in a fucking blizzard and it's gonna start snowing again as we're recording.
It is.
Did you not check the weather?
No.
Alright, let me give you the weekly overview at the moment because you're gonna want to kill yourself.
Great. Perfect.
All right, I'm using
Perfect.
Apple Weather, guys, because it's just the app on my iPad that I have. If it'll load, there we go. Oh, it's currently snowing up by me.
Oh, yeah, me, it doesn't say that it's gonna snow again until 7 in the morning tomorrow.
Yeah, we're getting 80% chance tomorrow, 40% on Thursday, and then again another 30% on Monday, but that could change. Just gonna say it now. Fuck you, Punxsutawney Phil, for saying that we're getting another 6 weeks of winter because this is literally terrible.
There's always another 6 weeks of winter.
No shit, but he didn't say spring is around the corner. He said winter. So I want to
Yeah. Here it's
Anyway.
not supposed to snow until like 7. And then it's supposed to snow on Thursday a little bit, and then Monday and Tuesday.
Yep. We're just I hope everyone this is going to come out in 2 weeks, but I hope everyone is safe during the blizzards and not dying. I threw my back out shoveling today. And
I got I didn't even tell you this.
oh god.
When I was outside yesterday, so I shoveled yesterday and today. When I was outside
Yeah, I
yesterday,
did too.
I was outside for like an hour and a half. But I was shoveling with my dad, and he got a snowblower. Like he went out Sunday and got a snowblower.
We tried.
It was really hard. He was out for like a couple
Yeah.
hours, but like he got one. I shoveled a path down the middle of the driveway, right? And then I shoveled a path at the end of the driveway. He comes out with a snowblower and he's snow blowing the top layers because obviously you can't
Yeah.
fit 2 feet of snow in a snowblower.
No, it does not work that way.
So he's like doing the top layers and I'm gonna shovel the bottom layers, and I'm standing there waiting for him to move. And the snow went like straight shot into my face. Like out of the snowblower, like straight shot into my face, like under my jacket. And it was just like all over my face. And he laughed
hate
at
that.
me. My dad
Of course
laughed at
he
me.
Yeah, when I was out shoveling today, because we kind of like started like as the snow was stopping last night.
Yeah.
So we got like a good chunk of it out, and then we had to clean off the cars because we didn't want to brush the snow onto already 2 feet of snow and add more to it. So it was all like densely packed snow this morning that I had in my driveway, but it wasn't too bad. Like it was manageable. But I literally got to the point where I was just picking up giant chunks of snow.
I
just
did that too,
throwing
and I was
it.
throwing them into my yard.
Yeah.
And they would like
I,
plop into the snow.
I had one literally the size of my torso.
I don't think
was just
mine were
holding
that
it,
big.
Just like, well, it's just like how it, because we have 4 cars in our driveway, all parked pretty close together.
Yeah.
So,
It just packed in.
but yeah, that's the shitty tea this week, is that we fucking hate snow. Loved it when I was a child.
Though.
Yeah, and you're probably gonna have more.
Yeah, but that just means less money.
Exactly. My good tea this week, though, is that my trip to Japan's officially booked.
I want a good.
Listen, I'm not paying for a lot of it. I'm only paying for like little bits, like souvenirs. So
My tea for this week is my sister got surgery. Her door is wide open. I'm taking care of a rabbit. I got a credit card. I paid my tuition
Yay!
payment. I got my loan deferred. Um,
Oh my god.
I'm still in my master's program. Um,
That's not gonna change.
my boss
Oh,
tried to convince me if I moved to another state to stay with the company I work with, and she would transfer me to another state. And I was like, you can't get me to do
that's
that.
fucking funny. That's
I was
funny.
like, you're not getting me to do that. Not because I like necessarily hate the company or anything. It's just I want a different job within my
Yeah.
field.
Yeah,
But
what you're doing currently is not your career
yeah.
because you're still working towards
yeah.
it.
And also, I am a fan of Breaking Bad, but I got my boyfriend addicted.
Hell yeah.
So
That's
that
all
was
matters.
my weekend. Your
Mhm.
tea is you get to go to Japan. Mine is credit cards and loans.
Okay, but I'm not going for like another 8 months. So,
Girl, I'm not going anywhere.
well, sucks to be you, I guess. Like, girl, the eye twitch is not gonna work on me.
It's not even on purpose. It literally just like it just started.
Anyway, are you drinking tea for once?
I was drinking tea last week.
But it was too hot.
I still drank it. Okay, I burnt my tongue and I drank it.
Yes, I'm proud of you. You actually did.
I have vanilla chai,
Jealous.
which is
I
also
have.
the flavor I drink my boba.
Yes, it is. Because I got you on to try.
You did.
I have hot chocolate.
Oh, I had hot chocolate yesterday.
I have been drinking a lot of tea lately, so I'm trying to like not have as much so I don't kill my stomach. Anyway, you ready for story time today? What the fuck are you doing? I was trying to ignore it, but you would not stop.
Just waiting for you to acknowledge it.
I'm trying
I'm
not
ready.
to.
I'm ready for tea time.
Yes, it is tea time. All right. I'm not going to tell you who this story is about because I want you to guess based on how I'm going to start this.
Okay.
So, like, what would you do if you were just on a morning stroll, walking down the street with your child, and you just look in a patch of grass and there's a severed body?
Are you doing Black Dahlia?
I am doing Black Dahlia.
Oh my gosh, I'm so shocked I got that first try.
That is exactly what happened to Betty Bersinger and her child.
Poor kids traumatized for life.
Yeah. This was on the morning of January 15th, 1947, and in Los Angeles. She was just walking down the street, having a nice little morning stroll with her kid, and in an empty lot, there is a severed body. The body was so pale that she thought originally it was just a mannequin. But then when she took a closer look, it was the severed corpse of Elizabeth Short.
Ew.
You don't like that? Yeah, no, it's not.
No. I mean, I look like a corpse while I'm living, but
But imagine like losing all the color in your body. That from a distance you don't even look human.
That's how long was she like sitting there before?
I'll get back.
Do we even know that information?
I have the day she disappeared.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean she died that day.
But that doesn't mean she died the same day. So
unknown amount of time.
It was about a week, a little under a week from when she disappeared to when she was found. So
okay.
I would say she was there for like a day, maybe 2.
I'd assume probably.
Because I'll get into it.
Don't spoil your story.
Exactly. I'm not trying to spoil my own story. So like I said, our victim here is Elizabeth Short. Her body was severed in half at the waist and pieces of flesh were removed from her body, and the blood was completely drained out. That's why she was so pale. She had literally no blood in her body anymore.
So they like drained her blood after she died.
Um,
Or did she bleed out or something?
I have her cause of death in here, I believe. But it's her body went through a big trauma. So I believe, I'll get to it. I'll get to it because I don't want to be wrong and have to like cut it all out.
Yeah, just keep going. I'm just asking questions.
So the only reason we know it was Elizabeth Short is because of her fingerprints. Thank you for inventing fingerprint identification. Once the discovery of everyone has unique fingerprints, and usually, is it a 12-point match? Usually, it's 12-point.
It's you can get away
I
with
think
like
that's like the
6.
most. Yeah, I think it's like you need a range of 6 to 12, but I mean, they had her body, so they could just take the full fingerprint and. But if it's like a partial, you need like 6 identifiers, right? It's been a while since I've taken forensics, so my fingerprint analysis is a little wonky.
Yeah.
So the autopsy showed that she was tortured, of course, as we can imagine. And her cause of death was cerebral hemorrhage and shock. So she technically died from a brain bleed, which is the weird thing.
That's unexpected to like have it be the brain at the end of the day.
For all we know, which I'll get into, like who we suspect, like the suspect would be a doctor, which again I will go over later. It's kind of like, oh, she hit her head really bad, I'm gonna put on a show. Which at the end of this, I'm gonna go over a little inspiration thing that I saw in one of my favorite TV shows that involved the Black Dahlia. So like, I'm obviously, when I will talk about this show later, I'm not saying this is what happened to her. I'm saying what they interpreted in this show as to try to like fit the lines of her story, put some of the clues together.
Okay. Fair.
So, who was Elizabeth Short? She was born July 29th, 1924. She was an aspiring actress. We only say aspiring because she has no known credits. So she didn't have any prominent roles that we know of, even like being an extra. We don't know. So before she died, she was a waitress in Los Angeles. And she would disappear on January 9th, 1949. She lived in a rented room behind the Florentine Gardens nightclub, which is where she was last seen alive, which
Great
is like
place to be seen.
Yeah. So the reason we call her the Black Dahlia is because she has beautiful black dyed hair, and she would wear a lot of black clothing as well. Just like, so they were like, oh, she seems like she was such a gorgeous lady before she was mutilated. Which I did forget to mention. I will talk about it later. The Black Dahlia also has a forever smile because her cheeks were cut from the corners of her mouth to her ear. It is disgusting and outright wrong.
I've always that sounds really gross to me, but I've always low-key wanted to see like a picture of it.
I have. Even like, because they literally had this character be the Black Dahlia pretty much in the show. So they did the SFX makeup for it and like copied it to a T. It's gruesome.
I've never looked it up. I don't
recommend it unless you want to have nightmares tonight, but
I mean, I looked up pictures of Jack the Ripper crime scenes.
yeah,
So
I want to cover that one day. I don't know when I'm going to, but I just got a new book. It's fiction. It's called Stalking Jack the Ripper.
I love Jack the Ripper. That sounds so weird. That sounds
No, you love the story.
yes.
You don't love the person.
I don't love the murderer.
Yeah,
I
we
love
don't
the
love
story.
murderers. Exactly. We're entranced. Anyway, so as I said, she was an aspiring actress, and she would finally receive her fame by making headlines 4 weeks after her death. So she was forever remembered. Not
She got
forever.
her
I mean,
fame,
she still
but
is
not while she
remembered.
was alive.
Yeah, which is sad. She was never able to see her fame, but everybody knew her at that point. Because like what this isn't a normal death. Of course it's going to make headlines because you want to find the person that did it. So, January 24th, a manila envelope would be discovered. It was addressed to the Los Angeles Examiner and other LA papers. The letter was written of, the stereotypical cutout ransom notes from the newspapers. That is how this letter was written, and it read, "Here is Dahlia's belongings." In this envelope would be Short's birth certificate, business cards, photographs, names written on a piece of paper, and her address book. So this person had access to her. To have her goddamn birth certificate.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's the only thing that's kind of like, how did you get your hands on that?
And here's the other weird thing. Every single one of these pieces was cleaned with gasoline, just like the body was, to like wipe evidence. Couldn't just wear gloves, man. But
extra. You want it to be extra.
Very extra. So they used the address book to try to find suspects. And 75 men were contacted from this book, but they claimed to only know her for a brief time. So I don't know. They kind of like just kind of threw it over their shoulder. They're like, yeah, they're fine. But also the fact that they automatically went to men and didn't check for the woman in the address book. I'm kidding, but it was suspected that a man did it because of the suspicion that he had a medical background. It wasn't very common for women to be doctors at the time.
Definitely not.
So
logically, a man.
Logically, they would go for men. So the reason we suspect that he had a medical background was because of the precise cuts on the body, also known as hemicorporectomy, which is literally the cut at the waist, like slicing the body in half, pretty much. So because of how precise it was, they got a warrant to search the USC Medical School because it was pretty close to like where she was found. But no clues were discovered after that search. I'm not surprised. That's what happens in these cold cases, sadly. So as I said before, the most notable mutilation was the incisions from the corners of her lips, creating the iconic permanent smile. It literally, I say it goes to the ears, but it really doesn't go all the way to the ears. It goes towards the ears. Think of like the Joker. Does that help? Like,
yeah,
I'm trying to think.
I mean, I know the Black Dahlia story, so I like know what you mean. But like for the people that don't.
So this kind of hurts me a bit. So once Elizabeth Short was identified, a team of reporters immediately ran to her mother, Phoebe Short, in Boston over the phone. And this was from LA's The Examiner. So The sad thing is, she found out her daughter was dead when people were trying to ask her questions, rather than hearing it from the police.
Oh,
That
that's
kind
really
of hurts
messed
my
up.
soul a bit. Yeah.
Why would you not contact any known family before releasing that stuff to the press?
So it's because they were trying to find her, pretty much. But if you think about it, reporters have their own way of accessing things compared to the police.
Still messed up, though.
This is just going to get even more sad as I talk about it. So Wayne Sutton made the call with city editor Jimmy Richardson and Jim Murray. They initially lied at first, saying that Elizabeth won a beauty pageant. And they pried for as much personal information before telling Phoebe that her daughter was murdered. So she had no idea. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So after all of this, the Examiner offered to pay for her airfare and accommodations to help with the investigation, which was just a ploy to keep the info to themselves. Like, what? They were being a little greedy.
Fuck you, police officers, in this case. This
isn't the police.
The Examiner.
Yeah, it's the newspaper.
Fuck you, newspaper. My brain was not following the story. But
sorry, I'm still coughing a bit.
Fuck you, newspaper.
Yeah, no, that was not cool of them. So on January 21st, someone called the editor of the Examiner, James Richardson, claiming to be the killer. Yep. And then
that's crazy.
So this person, pretending or not pretending, we don't know if it actually is them. He praised the Examiner for the coverage on the case and told Richardson to, quote, expect some souvenirs of Beth Short in the mail.
Beth Short.
The manila envelope. Yeah. Also the fact of calling her Beth instead of Elizabeth. Like, this wasn't just like a random killing. He knew.
Yeah.
He knew
he had to.
Who this was. So on March 14th, a possible suicide note of the killer was discovered in Venice, which, for those of you who don't know, there is a Venice in California, not just Italy.
Imagine.
We are not suddenly.
Imagine bro went all the way to Italy.
Right. So this suicide note read, "To whom it may concern, I have waited for the police to capture me for the Black Dahlia killing, but have not. I am too much a coward to turn myself in, so this is the best way out for me. I couldn't help myself for that, or this. Sorry, Mary." Now, who the fuck is Mary?
That's what I was just gonna say. Who is Mary? Who are you talking to right now?
Right? Like,
that just gives us a clue, though.
Does it, though? Or is it a red herring?
Maybe. Don't know.
For all we know, Mary could be his grandmother. Like,
well, yeah, but still, if he actually knows someone named Mary, it gives it, like, a...
Mary is such a common name.
I know. That's even more sad.
Yeah. So the letter was found in a pile of clothes, but this pile of clothes also gave us no clues. I got
too
nothing.
Thorough. This dude's too thorough.
So one of our suspects was Mark Hansen, a wealthy nightclub and theater owner. Remember, she lived right by a nightclub.
She did.
So a friend of Short claimed that Mark Hansen made sexual advances to her that she declined very nicely, but that could be motive, that he got rejected.
But her little bitch boy. Sorry.
No, I really don't like it when people like cannot handle rejection.
Okay, like I don't like rejection, but like in a
But I can be respectful about it.
I don't like rejection in like a, oh, I didn't get the job sort of way. If I asked somebody on a
Yeah.
date and they were like, sorry, no, I'd be like, fair, all right. And I'd
Yeah.
probably think about it for like 2 weeks after, but I wouldn't
But you're
go
not
like
gonna
murder someone.
Yeah. You're not gonna do like the stereotypical, oh, well, you weren't that pretty anyway. Like,
That makes
what?
me so mad. Like, you
I
obviously thought I
hate
was pretty
that.
to begin with. You came up to me.
Yeah, that's the point. It's they can't handle rejection.
I know.
I've never met anyone like this, but actually, maybe I have. I don't know.
Anyway.
So after investigating, Mark Hansen was cleared of suspicions. So one suspect knocked out. Got to keep looking. So LAPD interviewed over 150 suspects for this case.
That's a
And
lot.
it is a lot, but when you have nothing to go on, it's difficult. So Robert Manley was one of the last people to see her alive, but he was cleared by passing many polygraph tests, which even if he did fail the polygraph test, it is not admissible in court because polygraph tests can easily be manipulated.
The polygraph the polygraph test was created by the same person who created Superman, so don't trust it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a scientific machine at all. It's made by the person who created Superman.
Alrighty. I did not know that fact. Thank you for the fun fact of the day. But I think that's also why it's not admissible in court, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that's why I was saying why it's not admissible in court. Would you want your guilty or not guilty plea to be based on Superman?
I mean, that would be kind of funny, not gonna lie, but...
Okay, anyway.
This title is gonna have something to do with Superman. I'm calling it now. Superman created the polygraph.
Superman himself did not. It's just the same person created both.
No, it's still kind of funny. So many LAPD officers from many different departments would be investigating this case. So I guess homicide, special victims, like, I don't know how many different departments there were in the 40s compared to now. I'm going to assume homicide and special victims was already a thing, though.
I genuinely have no clue.
I can't time travel at the moment, and I do not feel like Googling that, so...
I don't want to figure it out either.
So, they searched many areas of Los Angeles, including storm drains, abandoned buildings, and sites along the Los Angeles River. But still, no evidence was found. It's
way too thorough.
This guy was very, very thorough. So, LA City Councilman Lloyd G. Davis posted a $10,000 reward for Elizabeth Short's killer's info, which I always like finding out how much that is now. Now that will be $148,300.31.
I need that.
Do you have the information?
I do now.
I have to find with just the 10 grand. Like,
I do now. I'll find some way to get that information.
Could I like go to the Los Angeles Police Department and be like, hey, back in the 40s, you offered $10,000, but can I get the equivalent of what that is now if I have information?
They would say like, no, 100%.
They would say, you get the 10,000, here you go. And I'd be like, okay.
I would take it.
Exactly. I would take it. So he didn't really think this through because there were many false confessions and reports made after that, which would cause them to be charged with obstruction of justice. Please do not lie to the police officers.
Bad idea.
Just for money. Money is not that important. Money is important, but it's not worth going to jail for.
Unless that's your life goal.
I mean, I'm not going to stop you if you want to go to jail, but I don't recommend it.
You don't know. Some people love their life in jail. I don't know. I'm just spewing stuff. Continue.
On January 26th, another letter was sent through the examiner, which was this time was handwritten, and it was as follows. Here it is. Turning in Wednesday, January 29th, 10 a.m. Had my fun at police. Black Dahlia Avenger, end quote. So he was claiming that he would turn himself in 3 days later. He had the location written where he would turn himself in. The police waited at that time, and he never showed up.
Well, okay.
So
I could have guessed that.
Yeah. This was all a ploy, obviously, because at 1 p.m. that day, they receive another cut and paste note, which I hate the cut and paste notes. It gives you that bad vibe. It says, quote, have changed my mind. You would not give me a square deal. Dahlia killing was justified.
Justified by what? What could she have possibly have done?
We don't know. That's the thing. We don't know, because we don't know who the killer was. We don't know what the motive was.
Yeah, I would love to know. Genuinely, I want to go back in time.
To know.
What could she have done so bad that justified that?
It could be any number of things, or she was just a victim, a random victim that he chose.
Maybe.
Which I don't think it, like I said, I don't think it was a random killing, because he knew so many details and had access to many of her belongings.
Yeah, he had to have had a close
and calling
handle.
Her Beth.
Yeah, he had to have a close handle on her life.
Yeah. So many media outlets across the nation spread Black Dahlia's story and changed many details regarding her death, which police allowed to cover up the true cause of death. Which, like I said, the true cause of death was cerebral hemorrhage. So the reason police didn't want the real truth out there was so someone would play the card of, that's not what happened. They wanted someone to slip up and admit.
That could be a smart tactic, but if the person is as smart as they are with covering up evidence, they're not gonna slip up on that. Could be great thinking, but I doubt with how thorough they are, they're gonna make that mistake.
Exactly. But they wanted to take a chance. I don't blame them. Because also at this point,
what else can you do?
Yeah, and the reason that they're letting it be false across the entire nation, he could have left Los Angeles at this point.
Yeah.
So the fact that the story kept changing and little details here and there were different, it could help the case in some ways. So because of the little information that media had, they continued to speculate with and without police statements and would create their own theories, including one of her being a lesbian. We still don't know why.
Yeah, where does that come from?
Thoughts of the motive. Basically, this was the 40s. Being openly gay was not acceptable to them. So, which I'm glad we are in a society now where almost everybody is accepting.
Yeah.
But 80 years ago, the world was different. We still don't have the exact reason why they came up with her being lesbian, but my assumption is a motive is why they came up with that theory. Which, I mean,
maybe.
We don't know if she was a lesbian as well. This is information we do not have.
Yeah.
But it's not a terrible theory, but it's a bad theory.
I mean, it could have been real. She could have been.
Again, it's just a theory. Were you thinking?
A game
theory. Sorry, no, I miss Matt Pat so much. I still keep up with the channels, even though he's not doing them anymore.
I don't. I was sad.
Oh, I love Ash. She does such a great job. And the person that does game theory now is British.
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 Oh, well, I'm Draco Malfoy.
No, we're not doing this again. No, Tom, Ash, Lee, Santi, Amy, everybody on the theorist team is doing a great job.
Good job.
They're doing an incredible job continuing Matt Pat's legacy. Especially now that he's fucking acting. It's like, did you hear what his latest thing was?
No.
He was in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie.
Oh, I did know that.
He was in the first one
I did
as a
know that.
waiter. And in the second one, he was the voice of Toy Bonnie.
Oh. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So we got to play 2 characters in the franchise.
Icon.
I know. We love Matt Pat. Anyway,
I was gonna say anyway. We're gonna
sponsor us. So, after a while, many began to stop covering the story as no new info came out. Which, like, are you just gonna?
There is no info.
Yeah, there's just nothing. So, some people who are suspects and we still discuss are as follows: Walter Bailey, who's a doctor, Larry Harnison, which was a Times copy editor, Norman Chandler, a Times publisher, and an author who claimed that he impregnated Black Dahlia. Which, what the fuck?
I'm sorry? That's a random claim. Okay.
Yeah. The 2 suspects I discussed earlier, Mark Hansen and Robert Manley, who were dismissed. George Hodel and Fred Sexton, who was a friend of Hodel. So George Hodel was accused after his death by his son, who worked in the LAPD homicide department. He was a detective for the homicide unit, so he's like, why do I think my father did this?
That would be
Like,
really
what?
messed up. That would be really messed up.
Yeah, but after again, we don't really know why. The reason some people from the Times or the Examiner or whatever were being suspected was because they had access to the media. So all that stuff getting sent to the media instead of the police department. Who knows? Maybe they were trying to make a story. I don't know. That could be a motive too.
There are so many things that could be motives.
Exactly. So many books cover whom the author believes committed the crime. Which again, it's all based on the author's speculation.
Yeah.
So all of these books have different information, which is why I did not base any of my notes off of any books that were written that were not really scientific, so to say.
Yeah.
I mostly just used the FBI website, in all honesty.
Good source.
Yeah. Thankfully, the FBI does, summarize a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
So, some investigators think other crimes were connected to Black Dahlia, such as the Cleveland torso murders from 1934 to 38, which later the connection was disproved. I might cover some of these cases in the future. So I don't want to give out too many details on them. The dismemberment of 6-year-old Suzanne Degnan in Chicago of 1946, which was part of the lipstick murders. The handwriting on the note was similar and very unique. And the lone woman murders from 1943 to 47, which was sexual mutilation with one serial killer and none of them solved. And it does fall in the time frame. So this case remains cold with no evidence, no new evidence, which at this point, I firmly believe that Black Dahlia's case will forever be cold because at this point her killer is gone.
Yeah, we're never gonna know.
Exactly. Unless this killer was a baby, this man's probably dead.
And even then,
especially
even if he was a baby,
yeah,
he would be very old.
exactly. It would have to be something someone admits on their deathbed at this point.
Yeah.
And even more so, the person had medical knowledge that they were already like 20s.
They had to be in their 20s, and by then, like, theoretically, you could live until 100, but
I mean, my great grandmother
it's
lived to
unlikely.
101.
Yeah, it's unlikely.
It's not likely, no. But
yeah.
So to talk about current media coverage on the Black Dahlia, back 2011, I believe, season 1 of American Horror Story came out. And the theme on this season, because American Horror Story themes every season.
Yes. Yeah.
So the theme of this season was Murder House, basically a house where a lot of people died, were killed, and their ghosts haunt the place because it's their
final resting place?
No, their purgatory.
Oh, yeah.
It's their purgatory. So if you die in the house, you're stuck in the house. Kind of thing. So one of the first killings in this house, in the show, was the character they based off of, the Black Dahlia. So the first owner of the house back in, I think they based it in like the 1920s, 30s. So a bit before her time, but it's very clear that this character was reminiscent to the Black Dahlia. Especially because they put a dahlia in her hair.
Oh,
to like
well,
really set it in stone. Basically the owner of the house was a dentist or some sort of doctor, but would take in women who wanted a special kind of operation so they didn't have a new addition in their life, so to say. And basically this doctor, while performing said procedure, accidentally killed her. But he really loved her smile and wanted to give her a permanent smile even after death.
Great.
But would then proceed to cut her body in half and throw her in an empty lot in Los Angeles.
Oh, perfect.
The story also takes place in Los Angeles, I believe.
Yeah. Perfect.
Like I'm doing this all from memory. I didn't write it down. Because I have watched Murder House many, many times.
Yeah.
That I'm kind of
I've never seen that show at all.
I recommend it. Later seasons, it kind of starts to fall off. But the big thing is, many of the seasons tie together.
Yeah, except you can't get me to watch that frickin' circus one.
No, I mean, granted, yes, there are a lot of connections in season 4 that tie to all the other seasons, but I don't think if you go to like episode 5, if you start at episode 5, you'll be fine. That clown guy is gone after that. He's not there the whole season.
That's disgusting. Anyway, continue your story.
And that clown guy was based off of someone that you really do not want me to cover, but I will be covering. That actually might be next week. Heads up.
No. I'm going to have all my lights on. Literally all my lights will be on, and I'll be sitting with my head underneath a blanket.
But yes, so to wrap up this story, there is still current media coverage on the Black Dahlia. She is not forgotten, even though her case is still cold. Basically, that this is their interpretation of the story, what they think could have happened, especially because there was a theory that she was pregnant. So it kind of they really did their research, and I like that aspect of the show, is when they're basing stories off of specific people in history, they really dive into their research for it.
Good. That's how it should be.
Exactly. Especially, I don't like season 6, which is Roanoke, which I hope you cover one day. Which I don't know if you ever planned on it. Okay. I don't like how they did that season, but definitely seasons 1 through 5. Great.
Oh,
Amazing. They did their research.
that's good. Glad.
All right. I got my I can finally drink my hot chocolate. What do you got for me? Please don't give me nightmares, because I just re-listened to The Devil's Circle again.
Oh, you won't have nightmares from this one.
Appreciated.
Yeah. I did have some paranoia going to bed for like 3 days after The Devil's Tramping Ground.
Yeah, no, that really I still have to post that. I like have it ready to go. I'm probably gonna do it after we do this call or in the morning.
Yeah.
But no, re-listening to that, because like I also did it like right before I was going to bed. I was not happy.
I don't know why that one gave me so much paranoia. And like I do have like OCD, which sometimes causes stuff like that to like stick in your brain and like cause excessive paranoia. Like I've had paranoia over like other things in my life, like thinking I'm gonna get murdered in the middle of the night and stuff.
Don't we all think that though sometimes? Like someone could just break into the house right now.
Oh, it was so specific. Like I would like imagine somebody coming in like the back sliding glass doors of my house and coming up the stairs, and he would go into my sister's room first and he would kill my sister, and then he would go into my parents' room and he would kill my parents, and then he would come into my room and see me laying there, and he would rip the blankets off of off of me, because I sleep with the blankets over my head. He would rip the blankets off of me and stare at me before killing me. I had that same vision for like 6 months before I got diagnosed with OCD. And then I got diagnosed with OCD.
Child, are you okay?
No. And the only reason, that was the main reason, they were like, maybe we should, get you evaluated for OCD, because they were like,
she keeps thinking she's gonna get murdered.
Yeah, they were like, let's get you evaluated. But yeah.
All right.
I had paranoia about that.
So what's gonna give me paranoia now?
Oh, you're not gonna have paranoia over this either.
Are you sure about that? Because I still get paranoid about the tramping circle. Tramping grounds, whatever.
I highly doubt that you'll get paranoid over this. Okay. So,
hit me.
I asked you a question earlier, so I'm assuming you can guess the direction.
What did you ask me earlier? Sorry.
If you considered like something paranormal.
Oh, it was like
do you consider like disappearances and like stuff like that?
Yes, like time warps and
yeah.
Yes, that's all paranormal, because certain things cannot be explained.
Yeah.
That, like, we discussed this back in the early episodes. Obviously, it's still early on for us now, because we're not even in double digits yet. But it's kind of like when we say we're talking paranormal, it's not always going to be like cryptids and ghosts and whatnot. It's unexplainable things. Like, hell, if you want to talk about aliens one day, go for it.
There's a couple UFO things on my list.
Oh, UFO stories are fucking hilarious to me. I'm not gonna lie.
They always make me laugh.
Until they get to like the creepy medical stuff, then I want to like throw up.
Oh, like probing? Probes?
Disgusting.
Yeah. No. This one is actually like, so I knew of this, but I didn't know like excessive details. I like to think it's pretty popular. I just didn't know many details.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you're gonna know it. You might have heard of it. I'm not sure.
We're covering a lot more like popular stuff early on. You are kind of like gearing away from that more, I've noticed.
Yeah.
I have been going over like a lot of the most well-known cases.
Yeah, I mean, I like well-known cases, obviously, but I have like the list on the notes app and I see
Yeah.
things and I get intrigued by like the stuff that I don't know a lot about. So I'm like, let me do this.
Can I make a specific request even though you hate it with a burning passion?
What?
Annabelle?
My God. Okay, I can do it, Annabelle, because Annabelle doesn't freak me out that much.
Okay. It's so when I say I work a Halloween event, I don't think I'm going to this year at this point. I'm probably gonna have to get a new job. But one of the themes of what we do, and I'm trying not to triangulate like where it is, I'm just talking about it. We had like a Conjuring theme portion.
Yeah.
And so one day it was so funny. It was a crew day, so we were just going and cleaning stuff up, and we're walking through, and so because it's themed with The Conjuring, it's mostly like 1 and 2, like the first two of Annabelle.
Yeah.
So she has like a playroom, all right? She's just sitting in the middle of the playroom, and there's just a fucking baby doll from the first room that got ripped out of the high chair. Like, it was super glued in that high chair. And like a few rooms later is that Annabelle room. And it was just sitting right in front of her.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
We fucking manifested Annabelle. Especially because this was the time, like, right after when they thought Annabelle went missing.
Oh, hell
when she was
no.
doing her world tour or whatever it was.
Yeah, that was so weird.
I fucking hated that idea. There's a reason she's locked up.
Yeah, that was a really stupid choice.
But yeah, this was the time when they thought she went missing. And like, I think it was like the New Orleans area, which is like obviously quite far from us.
It was after Gettysburg. They brought her to Gettysburg. And then
it was after so closer, actually.
Yeah. But she didn't go missing in Gettysburg. She
went
to Gettysburg, and on the way to New Orleans, she went missing.
That's what it was, yes. Which, like, I'm sorry. Haunted dolls, disgusting. There's one that I put on the list, but even, like, saying his name could cause, like, massive side effects, so I'm not going to say it at the moment. Because you need his permission to talk about him.
Yeah. That one, I genuinely don't know if I'm going to cover that.
That's going to be the day where, like, we switch roles, and I'm like, I'm going to torture you.
I will have, like, massive paranoia if I do him.
This doll, I do not vibe with. I've seen photos of, and it, like, actually, only once.
Okay, I'm already getting creeped out.
Photo made me sick.
I'm already getting creeped out. Okay.
Yeah, no.
Conversation about creepy dolls is over. It's over.
Okay. It was just because I made a recommendation.
I can't do it anymore.
It was just a popular story that I thought you could cover. Okay. I got my hot cocoa. I'm ready.
Okay.
What is this story that we're finally going to talk about, because we cannot shut the fuck up?
So, on a busy summer afternoon in July 1954, a business-attired dressed Caucasian man disembarked from a flight arriving from Europe and walked through the Tokyo International Airport like any other international traveler. Mm-hmm. He appeared to be approximately 30 to 40 years old, clean-shaven, with a calm and composed demeanor, carrying a briefcase. People reported hearing him speak English, French, and Japanese on the phone as he walked through the international airport towards the immigration counter. So,
okay. Seems like a stand-up guy. Like,
yeah, pretty basic guy so far.
Until he's all of a sudden 80 years old and like, what?
That's not what happened.
I was just trying to come up with something random, okay? Like,
that's definitely not what happens. So, At the immigration counter, the officer asked for his passport. The man handed over a passport that appeared legitimate at first glance. However, when looking closer at the passport, it listed his nationality as Torrid. The immigration officer looked up from the booklet, utterly flustered and puzzled.
It was what? Sorry?
Torrid.
Taurid?
ED.
Ed. I've never heard of that.
There's a reason you've never heard of it.
Oh, this was like an old. Yes, I have heard of this story. I just have no information on it whatsoever.
Yeah, that's what kind of the thing was with me. I knew of it, but didn't know any of the details.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he looks like a basic businessman. He walks over to the immigration counter, gives his passport, and it says his nationality is Torrid. Taured. The officer looks at him as like, what do you mean your nationality is Torrid? The officer asked the man where he was from, to which the man replied with, I'm from Torrid. The officer blinked and asked him to repeat the name slowly, thinking he was just struggling with the language barriers, as the man was choosing to speak in English rather than the Japanese that he obviously spoke. He just wanted to speak in English. The man insisted that Torrid was a real country. He even said he had been on business trips to Japan several times that year.
Okay.
The officer checks the passport again after the conversation with the man, still very confused on where Torrid is. The passport itself looks very legitimate. There were proper stamps from previous entries to Japan and other countries, visa endorsements from other countries, and a formal signature and seal. When the officer asked the man where Torrid was on a globe or a map, the man became visibly irritated, annoyed, and mildly confused. The man pointed to a map provided at the desk with a rather annoyed expression and indicated the region between France and Spain. That area is what we know as Andorra. So it's a real place. In our world, it's Andorra. But this man was pointing to it and saying it was Torrid. So he was like, this country exists. It's this place. And the officer was like, that's not that place. That's Andorra. Are you good, bro? That country does not exist.
At first reaction, I feel like, because like in Spain, they call it España.
Yeah.
So like it could be something like that. Like that's what they call it in their country.
Mm-hmm.
But
no. He speaks 3 languages. He speaks English, Japanese, and French. So he would obviously Spanish isn't even one of the Spanish isn't even one of the languages he speaks.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying though. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know if they speak in Angora. But...
Me either. But when he told what? When it told that wasn't what the fuck?
Are you good? You have to stroke.
I started reading further down from where I was.
Oh my god, you idiot.
Okay. So when told that was Andorra he was pointing at, he grew even more frustrated and irritated. The man insisted that Torrid had existed for over 1,000 years. It was a peaceful European nation. He had traveled internationally many times without issue, and Japan had literally stamped his passport before, which the officer had already seen. So there were stamps from Japan in previous trips in this passport. The immigration officer obviously wanted to clear this up, so he asked for even more proper additional identification. The Taured Man provided official-looking visas, entry stamps from Japan and other nations, banking documentation from a Taurid-based bank, a driver's license from Taurid, and business documents. All were issued from Taurid and looked authentic at first glance, but the documents couldn't be verified.
Well, yeah, if they don't know the country exists, how can it be verified?
There's literally no verification, but how does he have these documents, right? How does he have official documents from a place called Taurid that doesn't exist? So the officer called...
doesn't exist.
Supposedly. Maybe it exists in another universe.
Ooh.
The officer called surrounding hotels he claimed to have stayed at or were going to stay on this trip, and all hotels said they never had reservations for him. Companies he claimed to work for or work in partnership with said they never heard of him.
It's a little sus.
So, following this, the immigration officer obviously realized this was above his level with no way to confirm his identity or nationality, resulting in the officer calling his supervisors, which then decided this man was a person of interest.
Gee, I wonder why.
Yeah. The man insisted he was in Tokyo for business, naming a company he claimed had offices in Japan. Authorities contacted the company. According to the legend, the company existed but had no record of him. So there was a company that was real, but they were like, we have no clue who this man is. We have no records. They like cross-checked pictures of this man. There was no pictures of him in the database. So like even if he went by another name and was like faking his identity, they didn't even have his picture.
Weird.
So the officials questioned him further, and he became even more increasingly agitated as they continued questioning him. He continued insisting he had left Torrid only hours earlier. He had no idea what Andorra was. The maps in the airport must be wrong, and Japan must be mistaken. Because the passport appeared genuine but referenced a non-existent country, authorities suspected forgery, espionage, and/or identity fraud. Given the Cold War context of 1954, this was like obviously taken super seriously.
Yeah.
Like they obviously were like, we're gonna take you.
Well, yeah.
So, unable to verify his nationality, Japanese officials reportedly detained him. He was taken to a nearby hotel, escorted by customs officials, and put in a room while inquiries continued. 2 guards were posted outside the hotel room door, and the windows were so high up with no balcony that there was no way to logically escape them without leaving a body if he jumped to escape.
Damn.
Yeah. So officials and local police departments believed that escape was impossible without someone leaving or entering the room. His documents were confiscated for examination while the man reportedly remained calm but frustrated. He maintained his identity and story without deviation. So up until this point, it sounds pretty just like, basic legal stuff. So the next morning is where it gets kind of weird. So the next morning, officials had gone to where they were holding the confiscated documents. When they entered to further investigate, they had found that the documents, his passport, and other confiscated materials were all missing.
The fuck?
But it looked as though nothing was touched. Nothing was out of place. Nothing was moved. They seemed to have just vanished out of the drawer. Like the key for the drawer was left on the desk in the same position. Nothing moved at all. The officials then ordered the guards outside of the man's room to gather him and bring him in for questioning, as he was still a person of interest at this point. The guards attempted to enter the room, but had to get a key from the front desk. The door had been locked from the inside, meaning this man locked the door in attempts to keep them out. When the guards finally made it into the room, the man was gone. Wow. Simply seemed to have vanished out of thin air. The guards swore the door had not been opened and they hadn't even heard anything moving inside the room. They had assumed the man was asleep and chose to leave him be. So they didn't hear anything happening inside the room. They didn't hear windows opening. They didn't hear anything. He just seemingly disappeared into thin air. So when they looked further into it, the windows were completely sealed. Like they were like caulked shut. So he would have had to literally break the windows. As I said before, even if he managed to get through the windows, it was basically impossible to scale the building. He would have probably just fallen to his death. He could not have left through the window. They even searched to see if there were any secret passageways in the room or any he had made silently, and they found absolutely nothing. The man and all of his documents vanished. There was literally no trace of his existence left. They searched for the man and had warrants out. However, there was never another single trace of the Taured Man anywhere in the world. He literally disappeared, seeming to slip from the conscious reality under Japan's noses. So he literally just vanished.
Gone.
So that's
Poof.
that's the basic story.
Mhm.
It's a pretty like lame story, but it's the idea that he vanished into thin air that have people
Yeah.
more intrigued. They're like, how this man not go out through the window and not go out through the door because there were guards, but somehow disappear? Where this man go? How this man just vanish? So obviously people have theories.
We always have theories.
Always theories. So what I'm about to tell you, you're probably going to be like, huh? But it's important to note that there are no official records of the Taured Man to ever exist.
I can understand that.
So there's literally nothing about this man. So if he were real, this man literally erased his own existence from this world.
I think he accidentally went through a time vortex.
So people said that documentation was a lot less thorough back then, and since he was never formally questioned, there were no files. So it's obviously true that like documentation wasn't as thorough back there then, but there would still be some existence proof of this
Yeah.
man somewhere in the world. Even if it wasn't the documentation from the airport, there would have some proof. So the fact
Especially
that
because multiple people saw him too.
yeah, multiple people saw him. It was basically eyes that carried this,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So the fact that the tale was told from quote unquote first-hand eyewitness accounts with no actual proof actually fueled some theories about how this man managed to erase every single trace of his existence and life from this reality. But people still held supposed memories of this man. So he erased physical proof, but the memory of this man didn't get erased either. So that's another thing that people are like, how did he erase every ounce of existence? But he was, because usually if you go back in time, and then you never go through that, people wouldn't remember. Like there would, if it never happened, people can't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
So like he couldn't have possibly gone back in time to make sure that it never happened because then people wouldn't know.
Yeah.
So he's not a time traveler.
Aww.
So people filled the gaps in by theorizing that the man slipped into a parallel universe where Taured does actually exist. People say the man accidentally made his way to this reality where Taured was not Taured, and that is why he remains so insistent that he was really from Taured and it had been there for over 1,000 years. So people say he literally accidentally opened a time like rip, came through.
That's
was
what
actually,
I said, a time vortex.
Was actually from Taured in this parallel universe,
Maybe
but it didn't exist here.
Maybe he's the Flash, for all we know.
He just makes his own rips in reality.
Yeah.
So others theorize he was a time traveler who landed at the wrong time. He had tried to go to another time where Taured was a real thing, but miscalculated his years and ended up in 1954, where Taured was not yet a country, and therefore all his pre-planned stories and documents didn't line up with this reality, causing him to be detained. He realized his mistake and fixed it by going back in time to stop himself from even going up to the immigration desk. He kept all his documents in order to erase the traces of documents in this reality, and then traveled to the original its ended year.
Mm-hmm.
So that has a hole, because if he traveled back to never have even gone to the immigration desk, the people that saw him, like the immigration officers and the police, would not remember because it never happened.
That reality, yeah.
Yeah. So him going back in time, not a plausible theory in the time travel universe.
Yeah.
So
the parallel universe theory works, though.
I think that that's a stronger theory, obviously.
Yes.
But a smaller theory is that he was part of a glitch in reality where Taured either existed for real, temporarily didn't Taured either
European.
exists. Taured either existed for real or temporarily didn't exist through a glitch in the realities and caused some sort of confusion, or he got a glimpse of the future through a glitch and insisted it existed. This seems like the Matrix, which I don't think is what it is at all, because the Matrix
No.
is not real.
Yeah.
The Matrix isn't real. There is no glitch in the Matrix. There is no glitch in the reality.
Yeah, it's not.
Like, the theory is the parallel universe theory. But do you want to hear something?
Uh-oh. What? I don't
The
think they're going to
legend.
give me a choice.
The legend began circulating widespread through the internet in the early 90s and continued its reign as a seemingly unexplainable and an undebunkable case for around 25 to 30 years. So this case had 25 to 30 good years where it was just like, we don't have an explanation. This man has to be jumping through parallel universes, blah, blah, blah. Until the year 2015, when pieces began to come together. So the Taured Man was actually inspired by a real-life incident of a traveler gone wrong.
Oh?
There was an actual documented case that someone read the official documents for and found interest in twisting the story. So there were never eyewitness memories of the actual Taured Man, and the original creator made it all up.
Love it. Of fucking course. It was all fake.
In October 1959, John Allen Kutcher Zegras, aged 36, arrived in Japan with his wife. He entered from Taipei, not Europe, and maintained a fabricated identity. Japan's Tokyo Metropolitan Police arrested him in the early 1960s for using a false passport, trying to cash forged travelers' checks, and presenting identity documents that could not be verified. His passport claimed to be from a fictitious state of Taured, with a capital listed as Tamanrasset, a real city in Algeria. The Taurid that this man was from was spelled Tuarid, and the Taured Man was spelled Taured. So very similar name. They obviously took it from this man's story. The man did not mysteriously vanish from a guarded hotel room. Zegras was taken into custody by police, stood trial in Tokyo for fraud, and was sentenced to about 1 year in prison. He told authorities he was an intelligence agent and gave contradictory statements, but no evidence supported his claims. So in the end, the story of the Taured Man was debunked to be taken by most likely a teenager or young adult intrigued by the story of Zegras and twisted it to make it more exciting. It obviously took off because not a lot of people knew Zegras' story, and in general, people like to speculate the unknown.
Yeah.
But it was never really something that happened. But to this day, people don't know that it was debunked, and some people still think that the Taured Man is a real, like, phenomenon. But, you know, despite the Taured Man being a debunked story, it still sparks conversation to this day about the possibility of time travel, time slips, parallel universes, or glitches similar to the Matrix. I don't know where I stand about time travel, but I do believe in parallel universes.
I don't know how I feel about either, in all honesty.
I like to think about parallel universes.
I believe in parallel universes more than I believe in time travel.
I feel like I don't believe in time travel, but like
I don't think I do.
But like parallel universes, I feel like is more likely.
Yeah.
Because like
I think I believe because like in certain areas time works differently. So like people who were abducted, like time works differently in space. Your body reacts very differently. Just think of like astronauts going to space and they come back and they're just like they look a lot older than they actually are.
Yeah.
I
go to a
believe
parallel
in that,
universe.
pretty much. I believe in time working different, like time being different, but I don't think I believe in time travel.
Yeah, no, time travel is like, we don't have the science for that.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't think it's possible, even if we had the science. But like parallel universes, I think that's more so like I'm intrigued by that concept because I'm like, every choice you make obviously leads you to a
Mhm.
specific outcome. So what
Yeah.
happens if I took a different like a different choice?
Mhm.
Like I was just thinking about this like the other day when I was with Paul. When I started dating him, I was like, I don't like the concept of being with someone in the military. Like, I am a clingy person. I have
Yeah.
anxiety. I have an anxious attachment. I have trauma. My dad was in the military. Like, this whole thing. I didn't want to do it. But I took the chance because I didn't want to lose that connection. And in the end, I ended up getting what I wanted. He's not going anymore.
Which isn't the greatest thing, but
It's not great for the
him.
general thing. But like, I ended up getting what I wanted. So I was like, where would I be now if I didn't take that chance? What life would I be living right now? In like a parallel
Miserable one.
universe, like another parallel universe, I chose not to take that chance. And what is that life like? So that's kind of
Yeah.
like why I think, I don't know. Anyway,
That's the tea.
that's the tea.
Which I didn't know that it was a fake story. Well, it was a story based off of something that happened. I thought that
Yeah.
was it. But like, damn. I like time warps and
Yeah, me too.
stuff like that.
I actually didn't know it was based off a real story until I did the research.
Yeah, I don't, because we were in that group where we thought it was still like an actual thing.
Yeah. I purposefully didn't tell you though until the end. I wanted you to believe that it was.
You wanted to break my heart.
It was a good twist. A good twist.
Well, I'm gonna torture you next week then.
With
Yes.
you know, as at least it's not
I
a
don't wanna
clown
say
with a chainsaw.
I'm trying not to spoil what next week's story is.
You can cut it out. I'm just saying, at least it's not a clown with a chainsaw. Because I would actually be
I'm
not.
gonna purposely look up the story of a clown with a chainsaw.
Please, no.
And I'm gonna do that April Fool's. Oh, speaking of which, happy early St. Patrick's Day. Totally forgot to say that. This comes out on March 14th.
St. Patrick's Day is my stepdad's birthday.
Well, you should check in on him, see how he's doing.
I did. They're alive. He was felt.
That was a lot of tea. And I'm so tired, bro.
Our socials? Our Instagram
Socials.
is Let's Spill the Tea Pod, I think.
Yes.
Why did I suddenly
Yes.
forget? Right?
Yes.
Let's
Instagram is Let's Spill the Tea Pod. Email is lstt.pod@gmail.com. I remembered for once.
Yes.
Go ahead, and I haven't checked the email in a hot second. I should probably do that. Send us story requests and whatever you want, just to say hi.
We are on Spotify and YouTube, and
yes,
there's a
obviously
link tree on the Instagram. Yeah.
Yes, and obviously, as more things come out, like if we ever make a website, that will go on the link tree and whatnot. Basically, it's there for if you just want to click the link from your from Instagram to go to the episodes. It's there for you. But yeah, we spilt that tea.
You want a wire? Speaking to the mic, bitch. Sorry, I was quoting Jesse Pinkman. I'm
okay. Goodbye. The fuck? I'm ending this recording. Say bye.
Bye.